She got up and left.
Yeah, good evening. Welcome to episode 208 of the Brewgooders, the beer, comics, and a sort of geeky podcast. And Jeff, below us is, but not on the bottom, but not a bottom, is Andrew McGee, and to my right, but not as far as we're off the far right, is John Bruce. How you guys? All right? Are we okay?
Yes, we are very okay. Yeah, I think we're. Well, say we're very okay. I'm going on a holiday very soon, so I'm starting to become mellow. And it's
fair enough.
Good.
Work is coming to a peak. So the end of quarter and end of year stuff is coming to a peak. And see, after the start of this month, when I go on my holiday and I come back, I'll be the most relaxed guy. You'll see. I'm going to start dressing like Hugh. I'm going to start dressing like Hugh Hefner and just basically wearing loungewear just all the time.
Jammies and a house coat and a cravat.
Yeah, and a cravat. Why did he wear the cravat? Like, I understand the jammies and the house coat. It's a comfort thing.
Why does anyone wear a cravat? Why does Fred wear a cravat?
Well, why does Fred wear a cravat? That's just because everybody knows Fred's a quality guy. Shaggy's the man of the people. It usually takes much longer. This is a minute and a half in. It usually takes much longer for us to go tangential like this. So that's something.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, it's because it's the stress of the last half hour that does it. So
yeah,
the peering behind of the curtain that is the unprofessionalism of the Brewgooders or myself is we've been trying to get this on the air for over half an hour now, and so yeah, thank you for bearing with us. Andrew, what are you doing for beer tonight before we bring in our guest?
I have got. I'm not even sure what this one's called because it's things like that. It's a pale ale, and it's a Simcoe Mosaic pale ale. It's a very nice looking can. Very bright. It's like purples and neons and things like this. It looks like the kind of beer you would buy, in Tokyo, in Akira. It would be like beer, but it glows. It glows plastic, pink and grey. Yeah, no, it's just look at how bright that is.
That's crazy.
It is beautiful can. I love cans like this. This is what makes it into my collection. Yeah. It's nice cans. So it's a pale ale. It's not a particularly strong pale ale, 4.2%. On the Andrew McGee, it looks like piss meter, which is it's very good hazy. Good beer should be hazy. It's like modern lagers and stuff like this. They did all sorts of stuff to them back in the day to make them clear because people thought there was a benefit to clear beer. But good beer should be slightly hazy. And this one.
You're totally right, though. It's funny you say that because there is that sort of association now that like. The idea that hazy beer is some like impure even and like just a bit like it's not quite ready yet, and you're like, no, that's just.
It goes back to a time, remember back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, where ice would make certain drinks like whiskies and stuff like that go hazy. So they did all sorts of stuff to try and take that away from them, up to and including straining them through asbestos cloths and shit. Because it made them completely clear, but it took away all the flavour, and they still strain them, and it takes away a lot of the flavour and that. So they've got to add caramel colourings and things like that to make them back to normal. With some whiskies, not all, obviously. But yeah, beer's the same. Good beer. A good beer, like lagers can be clear, but a good beer, I didn't mind about haze, and a pale ale or an IPA, but haze, it's better.
That's good. Like,
so that's what I've got. What have you got,
Josh? I resubscribed to Beer 52 this year, and I don't follow. I know a lot of folk like go on the website beforehand and follow what's happening and what you're going to be getting in the next month or that. But I like to kind of go in like when I get in the box. I like to do that whole open the box and the first seeing what I'm going to get is that moment there. And so I didn't realize it, but this month is all. They're all collabs between Northern Monk, which is a brewery that we all like anyway, from Leeds. They're the guys that do the collab with Thought Bubble every year. But but they're doing. It's like every beer. I don't know if you're still doing the beer 52, Andrew, but like every beer is like. Yeah, your golden ticket thing. But they're all collabs between like Northern Monk and another brewery. So there's a one that you'll love there, a chocolate and vanilla stout collab with Fierce, which also we like Fierce as well, like Scottish brewery. But the one I picked for this morning, for this episode, I should say, is a hazy IPA that they do with Rivington Brewing called Hike the Pike.
Nice.
7%. It's a 7% evening.
So it's not a breakfast beer then. It's not a breakfast beer.
But like, so it's hazy. It's quite light coloured. Look, it's that kind of
pineapple lead. A good IPA looks like pineapple lead.
Yeah.
Not large pineapple lead, which is orange, but the pineapple lead that used to come to your house in the 1980s on the back of a van. And the van would come round and pick up the glass bottles and deliver new ones. You're shaking your head, John, as if to say, I have no idea what you're talking about, but you know
you mention this every week. I think you're getting selective memory because you do every week. This comes up. The Bon Accord van.
Oh,
Bon Accord. That was the chap. The Bon Accord.
I always thought they were based in Dunfermline. Was there not a place in Dunfermline that, like, the industrial estate between Rosyth and Dunfermline?
Probably
the one opposite. Like,
I think
for those that are interested in
Scottish history, the band
maybe they just had like a factory or something
delivering juice on tick to miners during the 1970s.
It's like the sort of Fife mining town equivalent of we've got that. You've got Coca-Cola at home. It's just the guy.
You've got cola at home. It's drum cola.
Yeah. No, I remember that van as well. I always thought it was a guy in Dunfermline that did it, but yeah, that's really pleasant. It doesn't feel like it's 7%, which is good dangerous. And also quite dangerous. Yeah, I could drink that quite easily and then be like, "Oh, I made bad choices." But yeah. So. Sorry for the late cancellation of the show last week, guys. I take complete ownership over that. Thank you for everybody that tuned in and watched our panel at Glasgow Comic Art Festival on Saturday. That was good fun. Really, like a small audience, but a very engaged one, and it was good fun.
And
obviously we had Andrew, we had the three of us. I also had Crana and Colin joined us. It was a lovely chat about just comics and just about everything else. It was, I thought, like a pretty fair representation of the podcast, but in a live thing, a live sort of forum, and one I'd be like happy to do again. But so yeah, thanks for that. But yeah, as I was originally saying, sorry and apologies for those that were tuning in last week and weren't here. But we've been really lucky in that Phil Chapman, who was supposed to be our guest last week, has been able to come join us again. For those that don't know, Phil is a comic creator who lives in Essex, and with his wife, son, and far too much Lego. I love it when I steal intros from like the personal profiles. He studied fine art at Loughborough College of Art, and has worked in the art education for 20 years. His robot designs have also, as well as obviously the comic stuff that we're going to talk about, his robot designs have featured in Brewery branding for Harrison's. System Error, which is the comic that has just funded its 5th issue through Blue Fox Comics, follows ITTO, who's a tourism robot turned relic on a quest through a deserted British landscape to fulfill his primary function to help people. So it's going to be a 6-issue series. Issue 5 just got funded. I've checked out the first 4 issues. Graciously, thanks to Phil for letting us check that out, and it's amazing. So I'm really excited to bring Phil on to chat about his career and what he's been up to and what he's about to do. So here he is.
Hello.
Hello there.
Thank you for being so patient this evening.
That's all right. Maybe all the problems were actually my fault in the end. Who knows?
They're all my problems. They're all good. So yeah, thank you for joining us. Let's get the brewery sized elephant in the room. How do you go about designing stuff for breweries? What happens there?
I don't know if you've ever watched it. There's a guy who had a YouTube channel called Harry Brew 69, and he sort of did his journey of building a brewery from scratch. It just went on. It was a vlog. It went on for quite a few years. He hasn't posted anything that recently, but yeah, he built the brewery from scratch. And I'm sitting there making this comic about robots, and I'm watching in lunch breaks, watching him like welding all these tanks together, his boil kettle and his mash tun and all that stuff. I was just like, these look like robots. So I drew one, and then I kind of like posted it and sent him a picture on the internet, and he was just like, this is awesome. And then we kind of just got talking backwards and forwards, and he bought a bigger pub, and I sent him more pictures, and then he asked if I could do can art for him. So I did some of that stuff. I did him a generic test brew. He had a pilot kit where he'd do all these experimental brews. So I made him a generic label for that. And then his boil kettle is this huge, it's wood clad, and it's got this big steam condenser that comes out the back. It's just great. It looks like this big steampunk robot. So I drew that, sent him that one, and then he asked me to do a much larger piece, which goes floor to ceiling on the stairs in his pub. It's got so he had it made into custom wallpaper. So it's in Retford, in North Nottinghamshire. So I used kind of elements of their town square, and I put this boil kettle robot standing in the middle of it. So this boil kettle is actually on his stairs, sort of about 5 or 6 foot high. So as you go up and down to the toilets, I've been there. It looks awesome. It looks very good. So yeah, and I've done a few other bits for him, like can art for various small batch beers, and then he was very kind to give me a load when I went and visited him. He was like, here you go, just 24-pack of craft beer, which is very nice. Yeah, so it was just really just an association of me watching his YouTube channel and just sending him bits and bobs, almost like fan art for a brewery, I suppose, which is yeah.
So did that then lead to the comic? Obviously, did you do the?
It was kind of. It was kind of in parallel to the starting of the comic. I was drawing robots anyway. I was looking at robot design, so I was getting into this thing. It was quite early on when I had this Instagram channel, the Instagram account, where I was sort of started posting the work that eventually became the comic. So his robot, his mash tun, is still in the comic. At some point, you may notice issue 4. There is something that looks very much like a mash tun. Watering some plants. So yeah, they're still there, and I'm still using them. So yeah, I mean, he's great. I mean, the stuff he makes looks superb, and he's got more. Have you ever watched his channel, Harry Brew 69?
I haven't. No.
He does make fantastic beer. I have to say, his beers are superb.
Yeah, I need to check that out. Like, I know Andrew talks about it quite a lot, but I've recently become a fan of just watching folk doing things on YouTube. You know, like maybe like Andrew, you're often talking about folk that are maybe crafting
artists drawing, people making things out of wood or metal, people melting metal to make things. It's phenomenal. YouTube's just a never-ending. Like, there's just so much entertainment there.
This guy, when he first started the brewery thing, he kind of did an intro video that said how he'd had a small brewery and he had a pub and it had gone bust. Things had gone wrong with the business, and he was basically wiped out and just starting from scratch with just this empty building which had a broken down Alfa Romeo in there, and a knackered old office at the back. And you watch him from the very beginning, and it's just fully functioning professional brewery with loads of tanks. And it's just really compelling just to watch this guy over months and months and months just work his way up and just grafting and grafting and grafting. Yeah, it's quite addictive.
If you share the link for the channel, we can pop it up and try and get him some more viewers. And certainly I'll have a look myself. If you
that sounds great.
So you started doing that in parallel with the comic, because I'm going to tell you something. I love the comic. Like, post-apocalyptics sold, robots sold, diagrams of the robots included in the comic sold. This absolutely stunning comic. Usually, it's like
Thank you.
People say this stuff all the time, and Jeff will tell you I very rarely say very much about the comics when we come on, but I'm going to tell you I absolutely love your comic.
Oh, cheers!
It's just amazing. I love the artwork.
It's very nice.
The story. I'm only 3 issues in, but yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I'm trying to see.
Super.
You're saying the schematics. I think I've got.
Yeah. Oh, go and tell me you've got a book of schematics or something like that. Or
We've got this.
Oh, right, hold on, Flemmy. I'll make you bigger. Hold on, Phil.
So that's the one that's in the back of the issue 1. And that's in the back of issue 1 as well.
Yeah.
And then I sort of expanded it and made a concertina sketchbook. So you got like all the bits there.
So nice.
Is this going to be a stretch goal for one of the issues, or is it already?
No, I literally made these to try and sell at Comic-Cons. Yeah, and there's an extra bit, and I think we might use these images for other times, but got nice little adverts on the back there as well for other bits, respray kits and stuff.
Poor Beanie.
Oh, yeah, Beanie. Love
Spoilers, but
yeah,
that was
yeah. Yeah.
So do you come from a technical background? Because I noticed that work is obviously very technical looking. You've got your schematics there.
No,
I've been no,
it's just an interest. It's kind of like comes from things like I don't know. You see, like games like Fallout, stuff like that. It sort of all comes in by osmosis. And when you're a kid, you got like the Star Wars cutaway technical manuals and all that kind of business. And you look at that, and you just think like, if I had the chance to do that with something of my own, take it straight away and go for it. Yeah. So it's not really. It's nothing to do with my job. I mean, my job is my day job. I'm a school teacher. I teach art. So, so that that's it's just this is not a sideline. It's just like a way that I learn more things so I can teach more up to date techniques, I suppose. So it's it's got a good benefit in that respect.
I wondered the same as John if you had any sort of engineering background, just because of it. And I'm like you, a sucker for exploded diagrams. Like anything for these kids. I had, War Machine and boats and aircraft and Star Wars and things like this as a kid. Loved that sort of thing. Had them all over the walls. So
yeah, I just think it comes from a thing, like I said, of like just having the opportunity to do it and just thinking, oh yeah, I've got to do this. Love it.
Yeah. So, I'd say the technical dynamic is really impressive. I think that adds to, for me anyway, adds to the story in System Error, because everything feels like it's
tangible,
doable,
it's real.
It's not far fetched. Yeah. It's near future. It's like tangible is the word. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of. I tried to.
Where
keep
did the whole?
I was going to say, just try to keep it sort of like, a future retro. So there's a little kind of Art Deco vibes to it. And, so it feels like it's relatable in the kind of time periods, possibly. But there's no like completely crazy, fantastical technology or sci-fi. There's no magical MacGuffin energy that's been created or anything to make things work. It looks like it's possible in the kind of ways that things function, I suppose.
But that's what thing of me was, obviously it's a post-apocalyptic sort of tale. But the very first panel of London was almost it's London as it is now. It's not something, it's not 200 years later London and then went downhill. You can imagine that whatever happened, spoilers or anything like that, happened pretty close to where we are now.
Yeah, that's what kind of. There's like the BioShock games with that kind of that Art Deco city under the water, and you even though that's kind of removed from reality, you can still relate to what it is, the designs and the way it looks. You can almost feel like you could be there and walk around. So it's probably that kind of similar kind of look that I'm going for, I suppose.
I say that love the look of it, love the story. So.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, there's one more episode come out after this.
Where did you get? Do you want to talk us through then? Because obviously I've prepared. Sorry, I've.
Is that the 7% beer?
I've set up the. I've set up a video. I've not set up. Yeah, that's what it is. I thought I could, for those that are uninitiated, I've got the system error video that was set up by that it was on the Kickstarter. I don't know if you want to just kind of talk through what the story is and what's going on.
Yeah, you can show that. Yeah, Simon put this together. Simon from Blue Fox, when we first did the first campaigns here. So this is a little scroll past of the front cover, and then you get a little kind of scroll through of first. This is the first page, which Simon has done a scroll so you can read all the beginning, where you've got a narrator introducing the story. And well, you can see from the words there that it's not too far removed from current kind of climate of the world and the situation that we find ourselves in certain respects. Yeah, and there's London, Millennium Bridge, and kind of future retro flying car. And then this is the opening point, okay? This kind of reveal. So again, with these kind of panels here, I was going to looking for a kind of phone screen kind of look, but again, a retro Art Deco kind of look with that kind of interface. So you're sort of like seeing inside the robot, seeing what's going on inside there. So again, it's tangible, but looking sort of old or futuristic at the same time. And here he comes. There he is, in a very overgrown and abandoned London.
It's lovely, lovely artwork.
Cheers.
Where did you get the story from? Where did your ideas come for the story? Because it's I quite like that. It's like I quite like that it establishes. And I was trying to explain it to a friend today, and I was like, "Oh, it's like near future." When it starts, and then it kind of becomes something else. Like it was like, so it's like a near future sort of almost kind of satirical look at like our like humanity's reliance on machines for everything by that point. And it was like, but then there's like a global issue that creates like an apocalyptic event, and then the machines that are designed to serve humanity now have no humanity to serve, and it's like how the machines deal with that. It's a really fascinating setup, and obviously it creates this amazing, quite epic. Yeah,
been quite lucky since starting right. I mean, I started right here with the idea of we'd have these robots, and what would they do? How would they continue functioning? Well, would they just carry on trying to serve their purpose? And then over the last couple of years, AI has sort of come along and made the whole thing actually even more relevant, and which is kicking in even more. I mean, so we are actually, as you can see, we've become more and more reliant on this new technology that's just literally sprung out of nowhere. I mean, they knew, tech people knew that it was going on, but all of a sudden it's come into our hands all of a sudden, and everyone can use it for good or bad. Your choice. I mean, like in my day job as a school teacher, kids just grab technology and use it without even thinking. They just assimilate it and use it. There's no kind of like lag of them learning how to use technology. You give them technology, they just run with it straight away. And AI is already just being used widely in various different ways by all of them. So with the story, it's it's kind of helped me make the thing sort of become bang up to date.
Yeah, we've discussed AI a few times here. The rise of self-styled AI artists has I believe a problem for proper artists. And I know as a teacher, Jeff, you're a teacher as well. I'm not a teacher, I work for the NHS, but AI is becoming a problem with regards to how it enables cheating in exams and answers and things like this. So, and like you say, kids learn this much easier. They'll grow up thinking AI is the way to go with art, and yeah, there is a worry about that. So.
I think with the art thing, from what I've seen, is with the art, they're more aware, they're more dismissive of AI art. They're more the text-based stuff like essay writing or writing for prompts or just asking questions. They actually, there's one of them referring it to Google it on the AI. You know, not actually using Google as a search engine, using ChatGPT as a search engine instead. So already it's kind of shifted on like that. But I think, I mean, the art students I have, they are very dismissive of AI art. They've because they know and they do accept that it's essentially theft and that it's not going to be real, and it is just going to be an amalgamation of somebody else's real work, you know. And they're always like laughing at the 6-fingered hands and stuff, all the things that pop up and stuff like that. So I think there was another podcast that I listened to where they were talking about AI, and they were talking about how, for example, when cameras came along and artists were like, oh, cameras are terrible, this technology is going to ruin us, but then everyone just accepted it. But there became room for both. So there's still room for fine art and there's still room for photography. And it went down those different channels like that. And they were saying that they probably will come to some kind of settled area with AI where people they'll accept it and they'll use it, and AI will become just the norm in certain avenues, but there'll still be a space for real art made for comics, real fine art made, and people will want those different kind of definitions. So I don't think it's going to destroy us or take us all, hopefully.
It's not, and I do worry about, like, established artists are worried. I think if I was a student, if I was one of your students now, particularly if I wanted to be a graphic artist or a graphic designer or something like that, you can already see the number of companies that are, for monetary reasons, just turning to AI art instead. Up to and including there was a big hoorah after the maker of, the best known maker, I'll not name them, but the best known maker of graphic tablets used AI generated art in their adverts to sell their graphics tablets.
That's harsh. Yeah.
And it's all the artists who use those tablets to create their work, rather than pay an artist to create artwork for their advertising campaign, they used AI. So yeah,
there's actually a big hoo-ha this week. Todd McFarlane was running a competition throughout January for Spawn comics, and he was running a competition for people to create artwork that would be used for a Spawn cover. And it turns out one of the people that has been selected, it's AI art, and people are raging. Even though in the terms and conditions it says no AI art will be accepted, AI art has been accepted. But this guy, his comments that he's writing back to people where they're like, oh, this is not real art. His image should look at him and go, no, forget it. You're not getting to come on, because he's. But his behaviour back there, it's kind of like, well, suck it. Literally, he wrote back to people, suck it.
Wow. The exact same thing happened recently in in fact, there's awards given for best independent fantasy art cover, and the one that won it last year, the specific award, it turned out to be an AI artist. The author didn't know. The author had employed, an artist to do it.
Yeah,
and the artist had assured him that it was drawn and stuff like this. But then professional artists can spot there are tells. It's not just as easy as the fingers from the cat.
Oh yeah, it's weird stuff. Yeah,
and tell things and things like that.
I was reading something about there was one of the AI art companies that was actually designing the software so you could put in specific artist's name, and then just like, I want it in the style of Todd McFarlane, I want it in the style of Daniel Warren Johnson, and it would just like scrape the internet for their work and then produce something in their style, which is pretty scary.
That's very scary.
That is, the one that get, I think. Yeah,
sorry, Bob. They'll have to find a sort of middle ground where the AI artists can do their thing and artists can do their thing. But certainly, I think I'm leaving multiple Facebook groups that I've been in for years for artwork, which is just becoming inundated with self-styled AI artists. So
it's like, I'm an artist. What's your medium? It's typing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's loads of folk on Facebook and that just now who will I don't know about the rest of you, but I spend, because I've outsourced my writing to artists for my work in the past. I'm on quite a few Facebook pages that are like connecting writers to artists, or like Comic Creators Unite and all this sort of stuff. And there is every so often a post that gets jumped on that's like that's somebody saying, "I am an AI artist," and that, like you say, they're openly saying, you know, my medium of art is an AI system. You know,
it's keywords.
You tell me what you want. Exactly. But then it's like, you tell me what you want to draw. You tell me what you want your comic to look like, and I'll fucking type it for you. It's mad.
And they do use these ridiculous comparisons. You know, they say that you're just like, you know, when the printing press came out, it's just the same as that, or it's just the same as photocopying or something like that. And it's not. When it gets to the stage where you're saying create something in the style of Todd McFarlane or Alex Ross or whatever like that, they're stealing Alex Ross's work. He's never given, you know, Todd McFarlane, Alex, whoever, they've never given their permission to have any of their work fed into these systems. Yeah. But yeah, they're being used by these artists who open Etsy shops and sell T-shirts and you know, mouse pads and everything like that with their art. So yeah.
So what do the students think about you doing sort of comics in your spare time in your as a sideline?
It's well, some of them know, some of them don't. But it's kind of like, it's the classic thing of like, when you're an art teacher, they always like to have a dig. Like, oh, so you've done any art then? You sold any art? That kind of thing. Yeah. Like, you know, well, young man. And then you sort of show them what you're doing. You're like, look at this. And open Photoshop and stick it on the screen and go, what do you think of that? And then they're like, oh, okay. And it's that kind of thing of like, oh, suddenly now they trust you to actually know what you're talking about. I mean, one of the main things, like I teach A-level photography, and all the Photoshop stuff that I do with the comics, that just goes straight into them. So the kids are like, you know, I know how to do tons of stuff with Photoshop, not from me sitting around editing photographs and trying to make beautiful holiday snaps. It's all just from doing comics, you know, all the different technical stuff. So, yeah, they like it. There's a few kids who are really into it. But as it is, some kids are really into comics and some kids just really don't care about comics. More into TikTok and other things like that.
Wow.
See when they say to you, have you ever done anything that I might have seen? Are you ever tempted to tell them you're Banksy? That's what I would do. Well, absolutely, that's what I would do.
I'll try that one. I'll see if I get away with it.
Yeah, I do stencil art.
Yeah, I do stencil art. Yeah. I could just do one like on the wall outside the classroom and then to see if they notice.
Yeah. In the style of, if you go on AI, you'll be able to find something in the style of Banksy that you can cut up and it's stencil work.
Exactly. Just take two things, like just put them together, like a girl and a bomb, or was it a monkey and a placard? It's easy.
Easy art. Easy.
easy.
So your work, you must be pretty full then. If you're teaching, you're teaching multiple classes, you're creating a comic or something like that. You know, do you ever take any time off? Or...
Well, I might sit around for evenings. There's lots of stuff. I'm doing it all the time. Yeah, it's if you can have a hobby, you might as well have something that can be productive with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you got anything coming up this year? Have you? So obviously, you mentioned that you do bits and pieces for selling at cons. Have you got anything coming up, or?
Oh no, you've hit a sore note. Right, I got rejected from MCM London last week.
Awesome.
I've applied for MCM London in May. Didn't get a table. Might get on the waiting list. Who knows? I've applied for Thought Bubble as well. I was there last year, so fingers crossed I'll get to Thought Bubble, because Thought Bubble is fantastic, as you all know. So hopefully we'll get those two. Hopefully we're there at Thought Bubble, and maybe MCM in October. Who knows? So yeah, that's it as far as convention goes for me so far. But I'm still plugging away at the comics. Hopefully later on this year we'll get number 6 out, which is the number 6 is finished. Simon's got it, so it's just fitting into his schedule of releases. And then I'm still working on more stuff, which is still system error related. So there'll be more after number 6. There'll be more stuff in the pipeline coming down, but that might not see light of day until next year.
Are you doing a collected version of the 6 issues?
Yeah, that was always the plan. Simon always said, like, we'll be doing, we'll do 6 single issues and then we'll do a collected trade. So yeah, that'll be coming along as well. And then for that one, I'll make some extra bits and bobs that will go into it. Probably the schematics that I showed you. They'll probably be the full schematic.
I don't will be at Thought, but I'm not on no plans to go to Thought Bubble yet this year because it's been the last 2 years. It might be worthwhile taking a trip just to pick I see it looking at Jeff because he's my driver.
I've not decided yet about Thought Bubble. Definitely, we kind of talk about this. Like, Thought Bubble is such an expensive weekend, and I don't know how you do all your balances when you go down or up, Phil. But like, do you share a table? Do you go with Blue Fox? How did you
last year was like, I've been 2 or 3 times as a customer. Last year was my first year exhibiting. So I have the secret weapon that my mother-in-law lives half an hour away. So it's free accommodation. So it literally costs me the price of the table and the petrol to get there and back. So because otherwise, I can see, especially like an MCM, I live an hour drive away. So I can drive there and back, and I can be here at home every evening without having to worry about hotels and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it makes it financially actually doable, because I thought Bubble would be a very expensive weekend for me as well if I had to go up and get hotels and all that kind of stuff.
We tend to be out eating and drinking the whole weekend as well, Jeff. I'm sure that doesn't help with the expenses.
Yeah, you could make it cheaper, couldn't you?
We could, but we do like the last 2 years we've done like a meet up with 15 or so artists and creators that we know, and we all go for a meal together, and drink, go back to that big hotel where the after party is. The Majestic, is it?
The massive toilets. Is it the Majestic?
Yeah, I've never been in there. I see it all the time. I see the pictures of people put up with those ridiculous toilets. And I've never actually made it that far because I just get in the car and just drive back half an hour out to back to my mother and father-in-law's.
Well, we went. That was maybe a big factor in why we were kind of coming back from last year, thinking, maybe this year was our last year, because when we went to the Majestic 2 years ago, it was, I don't know, there was just some sort of magic in the air, and it was really, really funky. There was a big fog had descended on Harrogate in that area of England, and there was just something atmospheric and quite exciting happening, or at least that's what we all sort of invented in our head. And then last year it wasn't there. And we were all kind of we were actually sat in the on one of the sort of outdoor spaces at the Majestic, and we're like, do you want to go back to the pub? And we actually left and went back to a pub we'd already been in, just because we were like, so.
Yeah, that wasn't as good.
But yeah, the Majestic is expensive as well, isn't it? You queue for half an hour for a £6 bottle of Coors. So it's a
warm bottle of lager.
Last year I just because instead of going to Majestic, I just went to this nice little pub called, I think, the Royal Oak in Ripon, and it was just me, my wife, and just nice and chilled, relaxed. It was no hassle, much easier.
I think when we done this, I think, is there a pub called the Royal Oak in every pub in every town in England? It's the law, isn't it?
Quite possible. And the Red Lion, yeah.
And the Red Lion, yeah. Yeah.
The Red Lion.
But not the U Tree anymore, or whatever it was. Never called that anymore.
Oh man.
Yeah. What are you thinking? Oh, is that just a beer juice?
Oh, I did dry January and then just carried on. So I'm sorry.
Okay, good enough. I thought maybe you had.
That's Heineken Zero.
Okay.
Incredibly boring. Although when you were talking at the beginning, when you were talking about beer, I was like, oh yeah, because I like all the hazy IPAs, all that kind of stuff, and I've got like all the kit to brew my own stuff, like make quite a nice mosaic smash, which is like But this year I've decided I'm just I mean it's good, but this year I've decided so far, who knows when the sun comes out sometime in the
once you can get in the
future.
garden, the barbecue.
Yeah, exactly. At the moment, I'm on the soft drinks.
Okay.
Fair enough. Just that's John. Chat. Are you on Iron Brew tonight, John?
No, you'll be on. He's on bars, cream soda. Look at that. You must be on mute or something, John. I can't hear you.
Yeah.
John's teetotal as well. So.
Right.
So normally about this time, and like half an hour into our interviews, so we would like just say like, "Thank you so much," and you're free. You weren't a prisoner to begin with, and we've taken loads of your time. You're free to hang out as long as you wish, or if you need to go and do something, that's fine. We normally kind of chat for the last kind of half an hour of the show about like things we've done, things we've seen, things we've watched, and stuff like that. I don't know if you want to hang around for that or.
What have you watched?
Exactly. Right, we'll keep...
For me, the big John, you're still muted or something. I don't know what's happening. For me, the big show of the week has been The Gentleman. It's it's the guy. Well, no guy. It's not Guy Pearce. Who's the guy? The guy who made Snatch and The Gentleman. Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, Guy Ritchie. Yeah.
They've made a TV show of it, and it's on Netflix. And then it's not the same people or the same story, but it's got the same sort of feel. And it's very, very good. I've been watching that. And I've also been watching the Korean version of Three Body because I read the book. And there's an Americanized version coming out very soon. And I wanted to compare them. But the Korean version's like 31-hour episodes. So, and it was quite a dense book to start with. I don't know if anybody's ever read that book, but it was a very dense book to start with. So yeah, and it's subtitled. There isn't a dubbed version or anything. So I'm getting through that about one episode a week at the moment. So
yeah, so you can later, like by November, you should be able to give the Americanized thing a wee look in.
Do you know what? At first, it was like I've got the second and third books. Were gifted to me for my birthday. I read the first one about like 2 years ago, and it's quite a complex book. So I thought rather than rereading the book, I'll just watch the TV show, and that'll give me the reminder of what happened to that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, Lord. If you're not aware of the show or the book, it's widely regarded as one of the best sci-fi books written in the last few years. And it's going to be on Netflix next week, I think. But they've changed a lot for the Americanized version.
That's exciting. It's always quick. I quite like that. Obviously, you run the gauntlet of being like bitterly disappointed. But I quite like it when something you've read in one medium or taken in one medium, you get to try out in something else. Obviously, for every Lord of the Rings, there's a golden compass, but you have to kind of
So the thing is, I'm maybe a wee bit of a snob, but it's very rare to find anything where. I mean, The Lord of the Rings was a decent set of novels, but set of films, but they weren't in the books. I can't think of it. I almost can't think of a single instance where the dramatization has lived up to has been better than the original book, apart from maybe Kingsman.
That's a shout.
Because those movies were great and the original comics were. Yeah. So
I think we've all stopped talking. John, you're still on mute, my man. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I think he is. Nope, it's definitely muted.
Yeah.
If you move your lips and I'll speak, John, and we'll just spoke. See, the thing is, Andrew, you're so handsome that I find it hard.
You try turning it on and on again, John.
You try turning it on and off.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I should have.
You put your pen down in front of the mic.
There you
go.
I don't know what happened.
So you were going to give me any instance, one instance, Sean, where the movie is better than the book it's based on.
The movie's better than the...
Well, if you're going back to comic books, Kick-Ass was much better than the comic.
Kick-Ass? No, and maybe that's a Mark Miller thing. Maybe because what I wanted was possibly as well. Maybe it's just a Mark Miller thing.
No, the Wanted comic was better than the movie. Much better than the movie. The movie was dreadful. Yeah, that was terrible.
Oh, I love One Head.
Oh no,
Sean.
No.
Oh my goodness.
No.
That Danny Elfman score in that, man, it's fucking dun 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 dun. The bit where he hits with the keyboard, it's great.
Mark Miller stuff is maybe better on screen than in comics. But apart from Mark Miller stuff, then.
I can't think.
What have you been checking out? We saw that chat.
Well, any suggestions?
I've been watching
the first season of Walking Dead.
Oh, okay, interesting.
I think the first season of Walking Dead's better than the first collected issues of the Walking Dead comic. There you go.
The Walking Dead does kind of drop off quite near the end, though, doesn't it? I mean, I've got and I was just there for like, I was just like, I'm sticking with this, but I really wish I wasn't.
Yeah.
But there you go.
175. You've done 160 issues, and there's only 10 left. You may as well keep going or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. When I finished it, I got the whole lot, put it in a box, and I gave it to my sister-in-law and said, "There you go, read them." And now I've got rid of them. She said, "Do you want them back?" I was like, "No."
I sometimes judge books and comics and movies and stuff like that as well. See if I've watched it or read it or something like that, and then I'm happy to just lend it out or give it away because I'm never going to look at it again. That is a thing for me. Yeah.
With the telly stuff, have you been watching Masters of the Air? Have you seen that?
I'm waiting for the whole thing to come out. I'm a massive fan of Band of Brothers and the Pacific, so I'm quite excited for it. But I'm waiting for the 10 episodes to be out.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah.
Plus, I grew up in Norfolk when I was a kid, where all these air bases were, and like the town I lived in had an American air base there. And then like you'd see in the 80s, you'd see like these old boys coming. Americans would come over. In the 60s and the 70s, and you're like, oh, who are all these old duffers? And now you're watching like Masters of the Air, and you're seeing what kind of representation of what these guys went through. It's just quite crazy. So as soon as I watched it, the airbase where they've got is pretty close to where actually I grew up and went to school. So it's got that kind of like fascination for it. It's good. It's very good.
Cool. I caught up on a couple of things. I caught up June. I watched Jeff. You watched it last week. The first June, quite slow.
It's quite slow.
And then afterwards, I watched Barbie, which was okay.
It's quite slow.
Barbie is okay. It's okay. And then I finished off Ghosts. Finally. But then it started to autoplay Ghosts US, and I thought, what the hell is this garbage? I couldn't take the accents. I couldn't take it.
They changed a couple of characters, and it just. I think this happens a lot when American stuff gets remade British stuff gets remade in America, especially comedies. They lose the charm of the comedy.
I might.
About it.
I might try. I might go back to it, but I just found it very grating. Compared to the British version.
Thing. Those guys who made Ghosts, I think they go under the name the Six Idiots or something. They did horrible histories. And Jim Howick, I think, is one of the funniest guys on TV. Anyway, I think it was a lightning in a bottle thing. I don't think, and also, 4 seasons of that was 24 episodes in total. One season in America's 24 episodes. And it'll run for 6 years or something like that. They just, they're soulless.
Yeah.
Soulless.
Then I started Ted Lasso.
So good.
I started it a couple of nights ago. I just finished season 1. I can't. Yeah, it's amazing. So no spoilers, but on season 2 we started tonight. and hopefully finish it in the next couple of days. But Ted Lasso is amazing. And I'm not a football fan. You know me. I'm not a fan of the sports, but it's a fun program.
Have you seen Ted Lasso, Phil? You're a fan? Or?
No, I'm sitting here realising that I don't watch any telly. We watch Critical Role. So like that just takes up, it takes like 4 hours of your viewing like every week.
If you're watching Masters of the Air, that means you've got Apple TV. So yeah, you must get on Ted Lasso. Jason Sudeikis is just the most likable guy, one of the most likable guys in the world in this program. It's just genius.
Yep, 30-minute episodes fly by like that. It was,
Right. So did you watch Slow Horses? Have you watched all of that?
Yes.
Slow Horses, yes.
Yeah,
amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, that was superb.
Amazing.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
I don't mean I picked up some of those books as well, but I don't want to read them because I don't want to read the ones that have already been serialized because I know what's going to happen, and I don't want to read ahead because I'm worried that I'll spoil my enjoyment when the next season.
There's other books that Mark Herron did that lead into the Slow Horses universe.
Mm-hmm.
So they feature some of the characters tangentially from the Slow Horses books.
Right.
So apparently there's 2 other series that kind of somehow lead into the feature of some of the dogs and whatnot. Yeah,
it's very good. It feels like there hasn't been a decent thriller, spy thriller writer since like John le Carre or something like that. Normal thrillers took over. So this is just much. Very, very, very.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have Gary Oldman in it, though, they kind of lose it, though, wouldn't they? I mean,
Gary Oldman's good.
Yeah, he does. He makes that show, yeah.
So the end of that first series, the bit at the end of the first series where they're in some folly out in the countryside. That's with the helicopters buzzing around, and sorry, spoilers for anyone who's not watched it. Like that's one of the local National Trust places. We're like, we have picnics there.
Cool.
We sat there in the summer, and we were like, we recognise that place. Yeah, it's quite funny when that suddenly popped up. Like, what are you doing there? But there you go.
Awesome.
Whereabouts you are?
I'm in Essex, so I'm just sort of east of London. So, yeah. Never intended to end up here, but there you go. That's what happens. My wife's grew up in Scotland, so we got all like links up there as well. She lived in Letham in Fife.
Oh yeah. It's just
it's not far from us.
Yeah, it's along the road. Yeah.
We're all Fife, so
all Fifers now.
Always.
So I grew up. I was born on an RAF base in South England, so I just wondered. It was close to Peterborough, a place called Wittering. So my dad was in there.
Were you born on the runway?
Sorry?
No, I know Wittering. I drove past it when I come up to Loughborough. It's on the A1. It's got the Harrier jump jet parked outside and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, aye. My dad was stationed down there when I was born. So.
Gotcha.
I come from a place called Wittering, guys. Take that in for a second. Jokes. There you go.
Are you sure it's not from Random?
Wittering. Yeah.
So, Masters of the Air, Ted Lasso. By the way, I disagree with you about June. I know it's a wee bit slow, and you're like, that's just the 21st century thing. Where you need instant gratification. I want more explosions. I want.
Oh no! I don't mind. I don't mind a slow build up, but this was a slow build up.
It's a slow book,
and there was.
He's trying to be faithful to the original work.
Not enough. Josh.
It was all right.
Like
I loved it.
I've heard nothing.
I loved it, yeah.
I've heard nothing but amazing things about the second one. The second one's supposed to be like a total one of the best films ever made. And folk are genuinely I'm not saying that folk are holding it up there. I was listening to a podcast today, actually. 2 guys from Boston I listened to it called the Raiders of the Lost podcast, and they're doing quite big things in podcasting, and they did the 25 top 25 sci-fi movies ever made. They put it out yesterday, and they already were talking about Dune Part 2 being in the top 25 movies of the sci-fi genre ever. Like they're saying it's incredible. Like they're like, yeah, we know we're talking about a film that has only been out for like a week, but it's unbelievably good. So I enjoyed Dune Part 1. I just thought it was, like you say, it was slow. It felt like almost like it was an intro / trailer for Part 2. It's kind of what I thought. I was like, oh, this is like the preview sequence, the pre-credit sequence before another movie that just happens to be 3 hours long.
Yeah,
it
was lots of little short scenes which featured lots of information and lots of weird names, and I was like, right, okay. Is that man maybe just too old to take all this in? Yeah. So I mean, some of the have sort of call it Sleepy Star Wars. It's Sleepy Star Wars. Fair enough.
No, I was comparing like to the David Lynch version, so like all the different scenes and all the different parts, and how are they going to do it differently compared to the old version with Sting and that, which is just quite a bonkers film in itself. And that one's more fast paced because they get through like Dune 1 and 2 and probably even 3 in that one whole scene on whole film, don't they?
I like the effect they use in the David Lynch thing. In the David Lynch one, they use how the effect they use for shields, and the new one's quite. It's just like I liked the sort of proto.
It looks like it looks like
Tron-esque
Tron or something like that. Yeah, that was the Yeah, I think the book's super dense. I'll be honest with you, I never managed to finish the book, and it's like I've been reading science fiction for 40 years probably. It's dense. There's a lot of politics in it, a lot of characters, a lot of stories. So I think, maybe they did want to do a lot of the explanation, a lot of the exposition in the first one, so that the second one can be more into the action. But the second one has got, like you said, the first one didn't have enough Josh Brolin. But the second one has more Josh Brolin and a lot of Javier Bardem.
Oh, does it?
And those two guys are phenomenal together.
Yeah.
So, Electric on Screen. They won an Oscar the last time they were in a movie together. So.
They did.
So I'm looking forward to it. I've not seen 2 yet.
Anna saying that Dune 1 and 2 are masterpieces.
Yeah.
Just acknowledging the comments. Anna saying that Dune's Part 1 and 2 are masterpieces of sci-fi cinema. So, quickly, because I know I'm looking at the times, and I also think I'm running either a bit slow or a bit quiet. So I'm sorry if I'm doing your heads in, guys, by jumping down your throats. But I have been rewatching season 1 of Superordinary. Is that what it's called? Extraordinary. Sorry.
Extraordinary.
Because I know season 2 has just come out, but I really love season 1, so I've been rewatching that to get myself back in the zone for season 2. And I've also Netflix have put out. Was it Netflix? I can't remember who put it out. I've just put out like a Spanish language Zorro program, and it's really good. So I totally recommend if folk aren't checking it out. It's the Zorro legend, but it's being produced by a Spanish language like producer, and it's just really good. It's really nicely shot. So if anyone's not seen any of that or heard of that yet, you should totally check it out. So.
Like a bit of Zorro, yeah.
I do, and it's nice if it's a Spanish language. You imagine that the main characters are going to be Hispanic and the actors are going to be Hispanic.
Yeah, absolutely.
The first Zorro I ever saw was Basil Rathbone. You had the same guy who played Sherlock Holmes also played Zorro. I think it was Basil Rathbone. Was it Basil Rathbone?
I don't imagine it would be Basil Rathbone as Zorro.
I'm pretty sure it was.
I couldn't see that.
Basil Rathbone.
Wow.
Is that the old TV program where we used to cut the tops?
Yeah.
Zorro.
Exactly. Yeah. I had the Mask of Zorro. I might be thinking something else. I might be thinking of the Flashing Blade or something like that. I don't know.
Antonio Banderas is my Zorro.
Yeah, it's your Zorro. It's like my Doctor Who. Who's
my Zorro? If there's any.
Yeah. That was a good film, though. The Antonio Banderas Zorro. The first one was good. The second one was dog shit, but the first one was really good. Yeah.
The first was good. The first one's outstanding. I think it's better than folk remember it is. Apart from the scene that we all remember, where it's very clearly like he does some like fancy sword play while he's like having a sword fight with Catherine Zeta-Jones, and her clothes sort of fall off, but actually it's very clearly two stage hands off camera going. It's like clothes don't naturally fall to the floor at that speed. It's like
the 80s, just any excuse to get Catherine Zeta-Jones and Claude. There's another example though. Let's make a Hispanic movie about Hispanic characters. Who will we get to play it? Well, is this Welsh girl? She might be interested.
Well, they've got a Welsh actor to play the Alder's role as well. So,
in that movie, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, of course, it was Anthony Hopkins.
And the bad guy's English as well. Stuart Wilson. He was English too. Yeah,
Aren't they always?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, for years the bad guy was English, but now it's the superheroes. All superheroes have to be, for a while there. Christian Bale, of course, is Welsh, but Henry Cavill and Tom Holland and a lot of English.
Yeah.
Aaron Taylor Johnson. Yep.
Aaron Taylor Johnson. English, is he?
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
Tom
Holland as well, and so John, you wanted to chat a wee bit about your the Kickstarter that you participated in. Like,
it got funded in 3 minutes, so it's the Kickstarter kicked off about 7 o'clock, and it was funded at 3 minutes past 7. So,
and do you think that name's attached to it, or because Kurt's name's attached to it? Who do you think brought in more people?
Basically, the Kickstarter campaigns that Bianca Thompson of Artists Assemble Productions runs, her costs are quite low, so they always fund within 2-3 minutes.
Right.
But then it's obviously a case of reaching the stretch goals now. So her campaigns always fund really, really quickly. But yeah, I was, just a pleasant thing to see, a Kickstarter campaign running that fast, So it's Artists Assemble Productions. It's called the Kurt Collection, and basically it's run in conjunction with Mr. Kurt Russell himself, and it's all proceeds are going to charity, the Goldie Hawn Mind Up charity, and yes, it was pretty good, So basically, there's, as you can see, there's some sketch cards there, so it's all original sketch cards. There's 18 of us doing the artwork, and as you can see, there's some original sketch cards there. And there's an artist's checklist that'll be coming up soon, which is my artwork on the base card. So I'm actually going to, there we go. That's my picture there. That's the Artists Assemble. That's going to be my base card, for Death Proof. So imagine that without any of the writing on it, and that'll be my base card. That'll be part of the deck. 18 artists, 18 base cards, lots of fun goals to reach, including signed materials by Kurt Russell and Sean Gunn as well, from Guardians of the Galaxy. But yeah, so if you're interested in trading cards, sketch cards, I don't know how much it costs to ship to the UK, but you can see a lot of fine sketch cards there from all the different artists. Lots of films over Kurt Russell's career as well. So yeah, it's a good one. But yeah, funded in 3 minutes, so fantastic.
Yeah, congratulations, man. That's cool.
I mean, I don't see any money of that. I said no to payment as it's a charity set. I don't know the other artists, but I was like, you know what? No. There's also a tier. There's also a tier to get my original artwork for the base card as well. So it's pretty cool.
Is there an Escape from New York one? Is there an Escape from New York card?
There's many. I don't know. I don't know about base cards, but certainly we all did sketch cards, and I'm going to. I did like 2 Snake Plissken cards. Yeah, so I might have done 3 actually. No, I did 2 Snake Plissken cards. Yeah, so there's lots of different original sketch cards in that set. So 18 artists, 15 cards each. So there's quite a lot of different cards out there. I tried to do some random ones like, Captain Ron, things like that, quite popular ones like Soldier, the Santa Claus. So yeah, there's a lot of different cards in there.
We should do one for normal, like, okay,
So,
everybody on your feet. Best Kurt Russell movie. Jeff, go.
The Thing.
Nick's my one.
There's so many.
Yeah, I have to go with one, mate.
Best Kurt Russell film. Tango and Cash.
Tango and Cash. Phil?
Well, I was going to go with The Thing as well. I love that film.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was joking with Tango and Cash, obviously.
For me, it's, well,
I'm going
to steal mine now.
It's Escape from New York.
Escape from New York.
I love it.
Tombstone. Like, just.
Oh, yeah. Tombstone, yeah.
So good.
Oh, Hateful Eight.
Yeah, Hateful Eight. Yeah.
Hateful Eight's very, very good as well. It feels to me like that's the spiritual successor to Tombstone. That's why.
Bone Tomahawk. Did you see Bone Tomahawk?
I have seen Bone Tomahawk.
Wow.
That's a
film and a half.
Stuart saying Big Trouble in Little China, which again, that's an absolute stonewall classic, isn't it?
Yep.
Used Cars. What's Used Cars?
Robert Zemeckis' film. He's a used car salesman, basically.
Okay.
Comedy. Very funny film, actually. Yeah.
Overboard. Anna Greenslade saying Overboard. Yeah, did you see they made a remake of that recently? It was awful. And Overboard, was Overboard not where he met Goldie Hawn? Or were they already together at that point? Or
potentially together? I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've talked to them both.
You're so many guys.
Yeah,
he's one of those guys who's just good in everything that he's in, and so watch. Even going back to the original, the original Flubber and these Disney movies he made, and he seems to have been around forever. Like he was making movies before I was born. He was making these,
he was in a film
and things like that.
He was in a film with Elvis.
Yeah,
as a young kid, and then he played Elvis 15 years later, 20 years later. Crazy. Yeah, so that was a fun card set to work on. So
it must be, man. I just double checked. So while you were there, while you were chatting, so it's $17 to get it shipped to the UK.
Okay.
And because it's 100% funded, everybody gets a Kurt Collection affiliate Snake Plissken card. So just by backing it now means you'll get, and as one of the stretch goals for just being funded is that you get an affiliate Snake Plissken card.
Yeah. The only thing is it's a blind draw, so you don't get to choose what sketch card you get. You'll just be given a sketch card. So you can't say, oh, can I have a John Bruce one, or can I have a Paul Maitland one? No, you'll just be getting a random one in a packet. But from what I've seen, all the cards are good, so, and it's an original piece of art as well, so good stuff. And all money goes to charity, so perfect. Good stuff.
Yeah. That's good. Does anyone have anything else you wanted to chat and plug about before we called it quits for this evening?
I'm all good, thank you.
I think I'm all good. Yep.
Amazing.
No, thanks for having me on.
Thanks.
Thanks,
for your work at Phil. I'll see if I can get myself some. Have you got back issues? Have you got an Etsy or something like that?
It's all on.
I don't have an Etsy. I just.
You got a website?
I have a little website. I don't sell stuff online at the moment. Mostly, I've got boxes of stock down there, but I'm keeping it for conventions.
Okay.
Back issues and stuff. You can get them through Blue Fox website, Simon. If you go on the Blue Fox website and just search for System Error, there you go. Perfect.
There you go.
Then you'll be able to get all your back issues there. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thoroughly recommend. Thoroughly recommend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Awesome, guys. Right, guys, we'll see everyone next week then, where we will hopefully be running on our new platform with an incident and on time. So I think we might have as a guest Katie Cunningham from Time Bomb Comics next week. So
Cool.
that'll be a good one. They get the guys at Time Bomb, the team at Time Bomb are doing some amazing things. But you all know that because you all visit WH Smith and see their stuff and have your mind blown every time you see like your mate's stuff sitting on a shelf in WH Smith. So yeah, very excited to get the guys from Time Bomb all back on next week. So cheers, team.
Okay, cheers guys. See you next week.
Bye.